I recently realized, kind of in a little bit of a shocked realization, I might, and I still, well, because it's happening more so now, I'm noticing this, depression and how, and anxiety and how it affected my ability to learn and what that might have meant for me growing up. Someone on Reddit I saw a while back said, it sucks that I can't learn anything with depression. And this was a younger person who I guess was probably still in school. Wow, I can't even imagine what that must be like, because the way that I am dealing with it now as a full-grown adult, it's incredibly hard for me to take in new information, much less use my brain when I'm having a deeper state of depression or a heightened state of anxiety. That, I think, might have been the case my entire life. The other video that I'm going to make that talks about I didn't get depression until I was 30, I didn't because I was in the experience, I can't speak to that. But from what I understood of my experience and the way that people were around me, now we know a lot more. Now I know a lot more. But I might have been exhibiting symptoms of depression and anxiety in a different way. I wasn't holding myself up in my room. I didn't enjoy social experiences completely. Like, I didn't have people over to my house all the time. I didn't actually like going to other people's houses. Like, it was this whole thing. I liked being by myself, and I didn't have any problem with that. Like, I've never had a problem with that until I got older. And because I had school, so I always had a way to be with these people, but I could also go home and be by myself. So that was perfect. So I didn't notice my anxiety and my depression then because I wasn't doing anything that I would identify now. So what was it that I was experiencing? And it was subtle. And it was my experience that exhibited itself as a learning disability. And I will tell you, no one ever thought of me as dumb. No one ever thought of me as challenged until it came to certain subject matters. Like math, I had a really, really hard time with. And I will tell you, I wish somebody had had enough awareness or forethought to realize what I was exhibiting was actually anxiety and depression. That would have been nice. Because what ended up happening, and the way that I ended up exhibiting my emotions or expressing my emotions, was actually, in particular with math, and this happened throughout from elementary school all the way through to probably high school. So 6 years there, 5 years there, that I noticed my ability to tolerate challenging subject matters. So math was a challenge for me. Okay, not a big deal. Everybody has their subject matter. And it wasn't that it was hard, but it was that I was not going to in any way make the effort to learn. And what I instead did is, I remember this in second grade. We had a quiz or something, I guess, and it was addition. And I remember this experience completely because I remember the moment I decided I wasn't going to do it. But you couldn't not do it. So I had figured out, because a smart enough, aware enough kid knew that if you at least make it look like you're doing something, then they can't hold it against you because you tried. So I wrote down random numbers. Not kidding you. I would just look at the problem. I got so frustrated trying to do math properly. My brain couldn't possibly handle the thought process. Because I was dealing with an abusive household. I was dealing with a violent household at home. So of course my brain wasn't capable of that. But the normalcy of all of that precluded this. So my ability was just simply my inability, or my struggle was just simply my struggle. It wasn't seen as anything else. So I wasn't answering the questions. I would just write down random numbers. That was the first time I ever did it. And then after that, my teacher and my mom had a conversation about that. So they caught me. It didn't go very far. So I realized that didn't work. And I was like, okay. So then I went on to the next school because I moved schools a lot. And the next school I went on to, I had a good teacher then, and I had a good teacher after. So I had good teachers. They weren't bad teachers. And I liked the teachers. I liked them a lot. They were nice people, nice women. But then I tried to actually do the math in my next school. And it got better. It did get better because I guess I had good teachers. So I guess I was lucky to have a couple of teachers there that were really good. And then it all changes. I had gone into, that was public school system, and then I went into a private school system, which interestingly enough was where I started all the problems. I wasn't bad at school, I was good at it, and I had my strong suits. I was good at language, I was good at English, I was, whatever. But I still had a problem with math. And I remember, I know this because I have no memory of math classes until high school. None, not a single one. I don't remember anything from third grade to, I guess, ninth grade. I don't remember any of it. I don't remember a math class. I don't remember the teacher. I don't remember the lessons. I don't remember any of it. And I know I had to take it, right? That's logical. And so what I realized is that I just checked out. That was my odd, weird coping mechanism, I guess. That was a kind of a shocker to me. The reason why this is so relevant is because at one point, I guess right before middle school, my mother tried to have me tested, my IQ tested, and then she was going to have me have a learning disability. Like, this whole thing started. And what no one thought to ask, that is now probably, hopefully being addressed more today, was my home life. And that wasn't the subject, but it was that there was something else going on. The unfortunate thing was that because I was being relegated as a learning disability, it was weird because I was in honors classes in some subjects, and then I was in a learning disabled class for others, and it kind of flip-flopped back and forth. Like, then I started having problems with an English class. She was a terrible teacher. She was terrible. She had some strengths, but terrible teacher. And I started having problems again. So I think what started to happen was I started to have the typical teenage experience. Like, I was being very volatile. I was very upset all the time and all that. But what I noticed was that I had transferred, because now math wasn't so bad. I had started to finally get the grasp of math. And I don't know what happened. I had a teacher that I finally remembered. And she wasn't a very good teacher, but for some reason she was nice. And I enjoyed kind of being in the slow math class. Like, finally I could just be like, this is easy. And I could just enjoy that. That was interesting. But what I then began to have problems with was in English. English classes became really hard for me. All of a sudden it was like, it was maybe the topics, maybe it was the teachers. I do remember having terrible English teachers after that. But my depression and anxiety, I now realize as an adult, exhibited itself as a learning disability. And what was happening is this kind of projection. I was taking what I was dealing with and focusing it on external things that were manageable. And so and it wasn't intentional. I didn't know I was doing this, but it was like making math the problem, and I could focus on how I couldn't do that because I could function elsewhere. So it was kind of segmenting my mind, I guess. And the reason why I noticed this, and the reason why this even came up, was because I recently had this experience. I've been having really kind of intense cycles of depression lately, and it's inescapable. Like, there is no place to go from this. Like, I am just stuck in it, and it's here, and it's all around me, and that's it. And it's been really, 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 really hard. I can't say really enough. And when I'm having moments like this where I'm functioning, I grab that by the horns, because it's so rare, and I build up these sorts of positive memories when I'm having functional days. So that way when the depression hits, it's not so bad. But I noticed in one of my states of depression, because I love reading, I love learning, I couldn't learn. And it was a specific day, a specific period of time, and I was all of a sudden quite afraid. That's scary. And I realized in a flash that that's what I was experiencing through my childhood. I just could not comprehend. I could not understand. I couldn't get myself to understand. No one could explain it to me, like whatever the information was that I couldn't grasp. And math, unfortunately, became my outlet. And I'm pretty good at math today. I'm probably better than most people, which is pretty sad because I had struggled with it for so long. But it did never happen again. I had problems with teachers, after that. I had issues with classes, specific classes that I just couldn't comprehend. But those were just one-offs. And for some reason, it just kind of went away. I quit having that particular hurdle, and I just found specific subject matter as a problem, or a specific teacher, whatever. And so it wasn't an issue until very, very recently again, when I noticed it happened again. So if you are struggling in school and you have depression, or you're struggling learning and you have depression, be really patient with yourself. Be really, really, really compassionate. Because my anxiety is tied to my depression and vice versa, I know that if I can address the anxiety kind of hidden side of it and try to do self-soothing as best I can, which is hard in depression, there's no sense of up. I go for what treats anxiety for me. I do self-soothing, the techniques and the habits that I have. So that way, even if I don't know how to help my depression, at least I can find something that feels a little bit better. So I keep going for it. I keep looking for the thing that anyway might ease a little bit of the tension that I feel. And it seems to help. And then I noticed that my learning returned. My brain feels whole, or at least as whole as it can feel, because it feels like soup most of the time. And it faded. And that was where I realized that was my experience. It's very sad to me because I struggled for a long time. I was seen as, unfortunately, it's the generation I grew up in. I was seen as kind of broken, And I guess that didn't change. But I am definitely much higher functioning when I give myself a lot of compassion. Because my anxiety and depression is only worsened by my own sense of shame or guilt, which is unfortunately another side of this that I deal with. I don't need to put more on myself. So I cleanse myself of that. I purge myself of that. I drain myself of that. And I just say, you know what? This is my experience. I'm not going to judge it. And I will tell you, meditation really, really helps. It's interesting. And there's the train. Many blessings to you. I hope this finds you well. If you have any questions, let me know. Peace.